Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Way back in 1990, I used to stay the night at my uncle's on the weekends, and one thing we loved doing was looking at the cereal boxes when we ate cereal in the mornings. But sometimes I would get out the Sega Genesis box and fantasize about playing all the cool games that were on there. And there was one game on there that I used to see on there all the time that I really wanted to try. So today, let's talk about Castle of Illusion for the Sega Genesis. Back then, Disney games were kind of overrated by most people because of their kiddie premise. But if you were one of those kids, you missed out on a banger for the Sega Genesis. When I was in grade school, I lived beside this kid. His name was Matt, who was lucky enough to have a Super Nintendo and a Sega Genesis. One day, I went over to play, and he had a couple Sega Genesis games that his mother had bought for him. Just think about how lucky he was to get a couple games bought for him at one time for no reason, no special occasion or anything, just because. Anyways, one of the games that she picked up for him was a game called Castle of Illusion starring Mickey Mouse. I remember him letting me open up the game out of the shrink wrap and everything. He didn't care. We popped it in, and man, what an awesome game. So I figured this game would be a perfect candidate for weekend rental.
Castle of Illusion is a 1990 platformer developed by Sega and released for the Sega Genesis. This game follows Mickey Mouse on a quest to save Minnie Mouse from the evil witch Mizrabel. It was the first game in Sega's long-running Illusion video game series starring Mickey, and was also part of the second wave of games initially released for the Sega Genesis, which helped seal the console's reputation within the period until the release of Sonic the Hedgehog in 1991. Your main method of attack is to perform a bounce while jumping, kinda like in DuckTales, where you use the cane to defeat the enemies, or to bounce upwards towards higher areas that you can't reach normally. Mickey can also collect things, such as apples and marbles, to throw at his enemies. Also, items can be earned, increase the player's health, and get extra lives. The game consists of 5 levels, where your main goal is to defeat Mizrabel. Level 1 has you starting outside the castle and running into some toy soldiers before you enter and officially start the game. When you gain control of Mickey in the dark woods, the game just catches you immediately. The music is really good, and the platforming is almost perfect. You are kind of floaty when you jump, but you get used to it very easily. As you're playing, you'll run into moving tree stumps that are basically enemies, and you can jump on top of them to access higher areas. This level is pretty much a tutorial for the rest of the levels. Big plants and killer mushrooms try and kill you also. You'll eventually make it to a bunch of vines that you need to swing on to advance to the next part of the level. Towards the end of the level, you'll be platform jumping on leaves in a tree filled with spider traps everywhere. More platforming, and then you meet the first stage boss, who is a tree trunk that comes to life and tries to run you over while dropping acorns on your head. After you defeat him, you are given the red gem. Stage 2 starts as you walk in a miniature playset with tons of jack-in-the-box soldiers that are trying to kill you. Eventually, the level flips upside down randomly, which makes it pretty tough level to beat. The boss is like a big clown present with punching gloves that jumps around and tries to hit you. He throws out springs that you must jump on top of to bounce even higher so you can hit him in the head. After you beat him, you receive the orange gem. Stage 3, you're back outside again, fighting mushrooms like earlier. You also must look out for deadly fish and black crows that try to kill you when you cross the bridge. Eventually, you'll have to use the waterfalls to find the exit to the next area. The next area requires some very precise platforming jumps. This is where the game gets pretty tough. Some of these jumps must be pinpoint accurate to progress through it. The next area requires you to use your platforming skills to avoid the rising flood. The boss of this level is pretty simple. You just have to avoid his attacks and let him destroy himself by running into all the platforms while you throw your marbles or apples at him. When you finally defeat him, you get something gold. I'm assuming it's a gold diamond. Stage 4 has you using the stairs in the lobby to reach the second floor. Stage 4 is kind of crazy. It has you starting out on top of a spice rack or a table of some kind, where you must watch out for earthworms and these red things. I have no clue what those are. Anyway, the next section actually has you platforming on an ice cream float river. Yeah, talk about a dream come true. You must watch out for the red dolphins jumping out of the water, kind of like the flying fish level in the original Super Mario Bros. After you jump on the vanilla wafer platforms, you'll find the next piece you need to save Minnie, the green gem. The next section has you platforming on top of a bookshelf. You must swing from different ropes and avoid the enemies like earlier. You can also drop inside the coffee cup to find a secret bonus area where you swim around collecting gems. When you finally reach the boss, you must fight some type of dragon thing that has a long neck, and you must jump on top of his head every time he comes out of the milky waters. When you finally defeat him, you'll get another gem for your journey, the blue gem. Stage 5 has you battling against enemies with armor and shields. This level isn't that tough. Instead, it's kind of tedious. You must watch out for falling tiles and cheap stuff like that also. Falling platforms and killer bubbles will also try to stop you from rescuing Minnie. Then you cross the skeleton bridge to get the indigo gem. The next section has you platforming on rotating cogwheels and platforms. Kind of reminds me of Castlevania 3. Anyways, I think this part is pretty tough because if you fall, you gotta go all the way back up. But when you do reach the top, you'll find yourself at the stage boss, a big fat guy that tries to hit you with some kind of satchel or whatever that is. Just wait until he swings and jump on his head to defeat him. After you defeat him, you're rewarded with the violet gem. When you exit to the top of the castle, you use all your gems to make a rainbow bridge so you can finally reach the witch, Mizrabel. She is actually pretty easy. You must stand on these two pedestals and just jump on her head over and over to defeat her and save Minnie. She likes to disappear, but she ain't very tough. Just watch out for her fireballs that she throws. Eventually, Mickey whips out this gem and it will shoot lasers into every direction and it will shrink her back down to regular size and you defeat her. After that, you get to watch the climactic ending of the game, then the credits roll. This game is definitely great. It holds up just fine today. Great controls make the platforming very precise and rewarding when you beat the game. I also love the music. I would recommend this game to anyone who is a fan of platformers on the Genesis or just players who actually love Disney games in general.
Well, that's Castle of Illusion for the Sega Genesis. The solid gameplay and easy nature of the game makes this game a perfect candidate for weekend rental. If you have any memories of this game or anything in general that you want to talk about, leave it in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, keep reminiscing.